Hello everybody, welcome to Hope Through Darkness. This is the first time I'm doing a live feed. There's just something I wanted to talk about. I'm seeing a couple different individuals for the same thing. It's for substance abuse and substance use disorder. I recently also had a conversation with a couple of my friends who have struggled in the past, and I take a look at myself, and I could see a lot of parallels in my life with what's going on. The thing I wanted to talk about is the addict mindset. Now, a lot of you who haven't been addicted to something, haven't gone through recovery, may know what I'm talking about. The addict mindset is the way that your mind plays games with your head. It will tell you that you're not good enough, that everything's okay, that even though your world is falling apart and your loved ones are telling you that there's something wrong, your mind is telling you that it's okay. Now, some of the symptoms of the addict mindset are this. It's constantly counting, constantly perseverating, constantly running through your mind, taking over your entire day. Things that you should be enjoying, you can't enjoy because your mind is someplace else. Now, as human beings, from our hunter and gatherer stages, we actually are used to fixing things. We're used to finding a problem, fixing it, moving on. And that's actually how we became so far advanced in technology today. Our minds are made to innovate, fix, create, and repair. When you're stuck in the addict mindset, however, what's going on is you have an issue in your head, and your brain is trying to figure out the best direct path to fix that issue, but it can't. So you sit and you think on it, and you lose sleep about it, and you can't function throughout the day, and you could be out with your kids and you just have no interest. And I've fallen into this myself. I was in a long-term relationship. I was married for many years, and out of nowhere, it seemed like out of the blue, my life got turned upside down, and I got separated. And there was so long that I was fighting to try to get back, and fighting and fighting and fighting, and I gave over all of myself to this person, and this person took complete advantage and manipulated narcissistic behavior, sociopathic behavior, and continues to this day, and it's been 4 years. At the time, it was when I was out with my friends doing something that I was trying to cheer myself up with. I'd get a phone call or a text, "Come over, I need to see you," and I would rob, steal, borrow, buy a car, ride a bike just to get there, just to see her, because that's how much it meant to me. And in my mind, it was the fact that nobody could tell me that I wasn't trying the best I can or the hardest I can to keep my family together. But what I didn't realize was my family and our family were two very different things. When I asked my wife, what is going on? Like, why aren't you focusing on your family? Her response was, I am focusing on my family. You're just not a part of it anymore. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. It caused me to go into a deep, dark place for a long time. A long, long time. Where I would be going to work and I had no emotions. I couldn't think of anything else. I couldn't sleep. There was periods for months where I would get 2 hours of sleep and go and wake up and go to the gym. But my mind was constantly perseverating. What can I do different? What did I do wrong? How can I change the situation? And it took me well over a year and a half to get out of that. I mean, it It still affects me today because at that time, when I would have my kids, I wasn't there. I was in my head. I was in my head thinking about the great times we used to have, the fact that we're not going to have those times anymore, and the fact that everything that I had planned for our future got blown away in a second. Now, I was set in that addict mindset. My mind was not in reality. It was in its own place. For people who are prescribed medication, you need to be careful, especially if it's a controlled substance. If you find yourself taking more than prescribed at the beginning of the month, and then at the end of the month you're calling anybody you know who might be on the same kind of drug because you ran out, there's an issue there. If you find yourself sitting at a table counting over and over and over and over and over and over and over again all day long, there's an issue there. If your mind is telling you, I have this many doses left, I have this many pills left, I can only last this many days, while you're out walking with your child, while you're out enjoying the day with your wife, while you're out hanging out with your friends, there's an issue. That's the addict mindset. So what can we do about this? There's a couple different things. The first thing we can do, journal. I know, journal. I worked in the mental health field for 15 years before starting this website. And I told hundreds of people that they need to start a journal. When I was spiraling and I was in a low, dark place, hurting, my life hurt. I didn't want to get up out of bed. I laid on the couch and just watched the sun go from one end to the other. It hurt. And a friend told me, who I worked with, they said, you tell people how to get around this all the time. What would you tell yourself? And I would tell myself to journal. And I did. And I started. I didn't know how. And a lot of people don't know how. And that's okay. What you do is you just start writing. When your mind is set on one thing and you're perseverating over and over and over again, you write that out. You get that off of your head, out of your mind, and onto a piece of paper. This way it's not inside of you. That's the first step. The second step is recognizing it. And if you're journaling every time you have this mindset, every time you have this cycle that comes and goes and comes and goes, you're recognizing it. And then the third step is going to be the hardest one. And it's going to be the one that is going to take the most time. You need to stop what you're doing. You need to close your eyes. You need to take a deep breath. And you need to remind yourself that it's okay that I'm not going to be able to fix this. It's okay that I'm feeling this way, but I will be okay. And you need to open your eyes and look around you and look at the blessings that you do have, your children, your family, your friends. Now, I was in a very, very toxic, codependent relationship where I didn't see it until the end, unfortunately. And it was to the point where I gave up my entire self, my entire being to this person. I was an empty shell. I had nothing. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was. And that scared me more than anything. Because I didn't know what kind of man I was. And before this, before I was married, I was confident, self-confident. I had self-esteem. I had self-assurance. And then after this, I had nothing. So what the addict mindset does is trick you into thinking that you're not worth anything, that you're worthless without whatever it is you're thinking about, without the person, without the substance, without the alcohol, without the drugs, without whatever it is. There are times in our lives that we get through and we go through and it changes us as a person. And during that change, we need to find ourselves again. And it took me a long time to find myself again. When I realized that the relationship I was in was very, very toxic, was well after the fact, because I didn't realize at the time that my family, my friends, the things that I love to do didn't matter, didn't come first. It was always all about my ex. And it didn't start out that way. Relationships need to be on an even level. If you're going through something and you're feeling low, your partner needs to bring you up and be there for you and comfort you. If your partner's struggling with something, if your partner's going through something, you need to be there, and it's a balancing act. And there are times when this balancing act becomes skewed. And for whatever reason, the person will start taking advantage of that. And the way of doing that is to block you from your friends and your family, to try to possess you and control you. And it's all about control. It's mental control, it's physical control, and it's emotional control. And once you give that away, you're giving yourself away. And it could be somebody who, like, I was in love with for over a decade. And I was married for well over a decade. And it still came as a shock. And I thought I had everything figured out, but I was lost. So I guess why I'm telling you this is I need to keep myself accountable for my actions. I need to be honest with myself. This way I don't fall back into that mindset. And the same goes true with anybody who's suffering from the addict mindset. The addict mindset is not something that we can get over easily. It needs time, it needs help, and there needs to be guidance. Your brain is telling you that there's nothing wrong, that what you're doing is okay. But you're missing out on the greater aspects of life. And not only that, your friends, your family, a lot of people may be telling you that you need to get help, that this needs to stop, that something needs to change. If that's going on, you need to listen, because these people aren't doing this to try to attack you or come after you. And that's what drugs do. They tell you that it's not you. It's them. It's all of them, and it's the world that's coming against you. But that's not the case. The case is you have to trust the ones you love, because they know you the best. And you have to listen to them, and you have to understand where they're coming from. Here at Hope Through Darkness, we do a lot of substance issues and drug use, codependency, any kind of really dependency issues we help people through. We have quite a few clients. We have mental health techs, and therapists, and counselors, and life coaches who specialize in an array of different areas. This happens to be one of my specialties because when I was younger, a little background about myself, I was a corrections officer. When I stopped working there, I worked at an inpatient detox rehab where I was able to learn about addiction and learn about substance dependency. And from there, I went to 15 years of an inpatient psychiatric unit. And from there, I was able to learn the cognitive needs of recognizing and changing, the cognitive change needed to reset the mind. So, I'm going to keep this one short. I know a lot of people out there are suffering. And if you or a loved one are one of those people, please reach out to us. We want to help. We're here to help. We have an incredible crew of people who specialize in a variety of areas, from home health care to Zoom online calls to phone calls to workers. If you're a business owner and you're employing people who are no call, no shows and have drug issues or have relationship issues, that's always going to prevail before the job. And I actually work with a couple businesses helping them. I go and talk to their employees once a week. It's important to maintain your self-control and your self-discipline and build up your self-esteem and realize that you're worth a better life than the one that you have. And that the brain isn't something that you can trust at all times. Especially when you add a substance to it. Especially when you add an alcohol to it. Especially when you add emotions to it. Because emotions are a drug. Love is a drug. Anger is a drug. These are chemicals in our bodies that are released. And we almost become addicted to that feeling, that emotion that we have. And we don't know how to let it go. The best advice I could give you is, if you're struggling today, remember, today is going to be yesterday. Yesterday is going to be last week. Last week will be a month ago. And a month ago will eventually be 6 months ago, then a year ago, and then a thought. So whatever it is you're going through today, stop. Stop what you're doing. Take a step back. Close your eyes. Take a breath in and remind yourself, everything is going to be okay. Because you're worth it. And you deserve respect. You deserve self-esteem. You deserve self-respect and self-love. And you deserve a life that you care about. So, if you're struggling with anything from depression, PTSD, emotional issues, relationship issues, dependency issues, get in touch with us. We're here to help. I hope you all have a blessed day. When you guys are stronger and we're stronger, the world's stronger, because hope through darkness, we are one. And I really hope you join us and join the Hope family. And I hope to see you in the future. Thank you and God bless.